Here's the only news about millennials was about their lack of oomph, right? Their lack of investing, reluctance to start families, just, the fact that they were camped out in their mother's basement. Well, that's all changed. And of course, we all know now about the Reddit investing revolution, but it's not just about the stock market. Yesterday's consumer survey by the New York Fed, I was struck that not only were those under 40 years old most confident about the market going higher in the next year, by a huge margin, their confidence over whether or not they lost their job and the ability to get one in 3 months, far more than any other age group they felt confident about that. In fact, I think it's important that these folks are unafraid. And if Wall Street bristles at the notion that there's too much optimism and they always see it as a contrarian indicator, I think that, I push back against that. Joining me now from Walser Wealth Management, Rebecca Walser. Now, Rebecca, there's a survey from E-Trade that shows 75% of these retail investors, mostly these young folks, believe that the market is fully or somewhat in a bubble, but 61% remain bullish. So I know how this feels. They're essentially saying that it's bubblelicious, and I love it. What are your thoughts?
I think it's so important, Charles, that they are optimistic, right, and that they are bullish, because we do want to get back to, some level of normal, whatever that is, and we need people to be optimistic and get out there and spend their money, since we're 70% consumer driven. So it's very good that they are optimistic. It reminds me of a story of somebody that played, you're basically dust in the wind at your high school graduation. You don't want young people feeling like there's no hope, because that's not what we want. So this is great. But I do sense a little bit of a danger, Charles, because I feel like they think that the Fed is just going to bail them out and the government's just going to bail them out. And that's not necessarily a lesson that we want all of our young people to feel like, oh, no big problem. If we have a global pandemic, the government will just come along and save us. And that's not the right either.
Well, so here's the thing. We know that the media, and of course, is endless memes, more often than not by the Reddit trading crowd themselves, of them eating crayons and things like that. In fact, I saw a survey where 88% of millennials are already investing their own money, so they've taken control. But of that same group, only 55% said they were confident in their money-making decisions. So this is what we want to do. Beyond trial and error, let's help them out, Rebecca. What's some of the better ways for them to justify this confidence? What are some of the lessons that they can learn now and not the hard way?
Well, first of all, start with some play money, right? If you're not confident in what you're doing, then make sure that whatever losses you take aren't painful, and certainly is not your rent or your car.
Does that include the stimulus checks?
I don't know. It depends on if they're covering their rent or they're living at home, right, Charles? I mean, start with play money, get your system down, find out what works for you, and then perfect it, and then start really pulling in bigger dollars that will really have an impact, because obviously you can't stay on the sidelines forever.
All right, let's pull back a little bit, right? Let's go beyond the markets for a moment, because, listen, one of the things I love about you, Rebecca, is your passion for this country. And right now our nation is mired, right, by division, by doubt. And I do find solace that younger Americans, that these Gen Zers and young millennials, that they seem so eager. They want to pull themselves by the bootstraps, that they are confident. I want them to gain more confidence. But I just want your thoughts on where we are as a nation, because depending on where you watch your news or how you consume it, there's a lot of things to be concerned about.
Charles, 2021 is going to go down in the record books as a historical making year. History is being written this year. We just don't know what exactly it is yet. But this is the moment where these millennials and our younger generations are really going to be tested as to their resolve of, is it the America of your parents and your grandparents? And I'm not talking about the bad things. There's a lot of bad things we need to work on. I'm not talking about those things. I'm talking about the good things, the moral fiber of this country, the innovative spirit, the entrepreneurial spirit, the ability to say, hey, I came from this, but I became that. We look to these younger generations to understand that and to come into their own on that. And I have no doubt that they will.
I agree with you 1,000%. Rebecca, always enjoy our conversations. We'll talk again real soon.
Thanks, Charles.
Folks, there's so many ideas, so many trends, so many conversations like that I want to have every show. There's not really enough time.